Thailand's Constitutional Court will rule on the fate of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha tomorrow. It will decide whether the former coup leader has hit the term limit of 8 years. CNA's Success Sambat explains what is at stake.
It's been an odd month in Thai politics. The Prime Minister suspended, his chair in the cabinet meeting empty. A month ago, the Constitutional Court has suspended Prayut Chan-o-cha as it deliberates when his 8-year term limit ends. Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwan has taken over duties since then and has used the time for more walkabouts in the provinces. Observers say that these appearances are already the first rehearsals for Mr Prawit, who is also the leader of the ruling Palang Pracharat Party, for the next election campaign expected sometime next year. Meanwhile, Mr Prayut is still Defence Minister and has been tending to his tasks as well, mostly with the armed forces. It is also rumored that the once literal brother-in-arms that have been running the Thai government for the past 8 years, General Prayut and General Prawit, have been not seeing eye to eye anymore and could be going separate ways. Thailand's Constitutional Court is scheduled to rule whether or not Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has completed his 8 years in office or not. Let's take a look at the different options, what could happen. Now, the Constitution clearly says that you can't rule longer than 8 years in Thailand as a Prime Minister. Once those 8 years are done, you're out. And that's what the opposition is arguing as well. They say that his term started in 2014, shortly after he seized powers in a military coup. That's exactly 8 years ago, and if the court sides with them, Prayut's premiership would be history. Now, there were leaked documents by Prayut's legal team saying that his term started a lot later. The most generous interpretation would be 2019. That's when the last democratic elections took place. Prayut won those elections, and he's almost done with his first term. If the court sides with this option, then he would be free to run for a second term. And then there's this option here, the third option. 2017 is when the current constitution with this 8-year term limit rule came into force. That was 5 years ago. So that would leave Prayut with a little bit more than 2.5 years left in office, or about half a term. And that raises an interesting question. Yes, he would be able to come back from his suspension right away. He would be able to go back to work as a prime minister. But would he run for prime minister again, knowing that he only has half a term left? We don't know that. Now, there's also the possibility that the court will only say whether or not his term has ended in last August, whether or not these 8 years are already over, because the opposition's motions did not further specify when in the future Prayut's term would end. In any case, this comes as democratic elections are set to take place in Thailand within the next year. And all those political stakeholders are not only preparing for those elections already, they will also be closely monitoring the Constitutional Court to see whether or not Prayut Chan-o-cha will be part of the equation going forward or not. Success Sambat, CNA Bangkok.